Well, here we are on Wednesday. Wednesday the 29th, All Hallows Eve is around the bend. It's around the bend. Duh. I want to say bend, but I think it's bend. Right around the bend. All right. I just watched, Will Smith has a new song. And I watched the video. And the song is called I Like Pretty Girls. And in the middle of the song, during the breakdown, he's like, I just like women. That's the truth about me. Dude, I mean, it looks like it comes across as a closeted homosexual wanting the world to know that he likes girls. And that's the only thing I could think about the entire time I was watching that. And it's got a catchy beat, but it's sang by Will Smith, and there's too much speculation about what he truly enjoys. So he's like, hey guys, no, for real, I like pretty girls. The truth about me is I love women. That's what he literally says in it, dude. Are you trying to convince us or yourself, Will Smith? There was a bishop in a church in Detroit. The video went viral, in which the pastor humiliated a woman and her child for not donating $2,000. And for whatever reason, I'm seeing right here that director and cross-dresser Tyler Perry gave $100,000 to him after the fact that this went viral because he didn't give the pastor the $2,000. And the pastor actually looks like Michael Jordan looks now, kind of. But why Tyler Perry would do that, I will get to the bottom of it. But I mean, it just seems it's just repulsive. I mean, this guy just demanding thousands of dollars, doing the humiliation because it's not enough money, dude. It's not what church is. It's not how it's supposed to be. That guy is a charlatan. And Tyler Perry, the director cross-dresser Tyler Perry, gave him $100,000. Does not surprise me, though. I mean, of course, that would be the kind of church that Tyler Perry would like. A lot of people are coming to faith. A lot of people. I came across some articles yesterday that hopefully we can, I don't know. I might have found out some more information about this. About that church in Detroit. When the devil went crazy, folks started calling up from the other state saying, I got to give on this. That's what Winnis told his church on Sunday in a video clip that has since gone viral and picked up by Rolling Out. We have received one person called and he said, tell my name, he said, because I know God is in this. Tyler Perry sent $100,000. So the alleged gift comes after the controversy that began during perfecting churches. Yeah, perfecting churches. Talk about a legalistic nightmare of a church. Yeah, perfection has given us all of your money. Your rent, you don't need that. I need it. Look at my suit. Look at my Benz. Look at my Rolls Royce. Day of Giving service on October 19th when asked members to contribute 1,000 plus. The phrasing led to confusion among congregants, with some assuming it meant 1,001. While others thought he was requesting two separate $1,000 offerings. It's crazy. That is a crazy amount of money to be asking from your sheep, dude. Talk about a wolf just fleecing the flock. You outright called, bring me up $1,000, dude? No, strip. I don't even need to. I know that church sucks. I know it teaches false doctrine. I know for a fact that he needs to be just stripped of his pastorship, removed from the pulpit, and he should be sitting in the back, barely scraping by, just wanting his conscience to be cleared and have peace in his soul that his sins are forgiven, only to be asked to give $1,000. Yeah, I bet he wouldn't do it either. So during the service, longtime member Roberta McCoy and her son came forward with a $1,235 gift, which is an insane amount of money, saying she was giving in faith toward the church's building project. Witness corrected her, publicly saying that's only $1,200, and pressed further when McCoy said she planned to work on the other $800. The pastor replied, "That ain't what I asked you to do." That's what he said. "That ain't what I asked you to do. Give me your money now." That dude isn't going to wait for you to work on the other $800. He wants it now. He wants you to drain that account. And so in interviews following, both the pastor and McCoy said the moment had been misunderstood. And he said that he apologized after. I don't care. It's the whole fact of that he was asking everyone for that much money right on the spot. Like, dude, that is not what the Bible says. But Conor McGregor, this dude right here, he said he declares he's been living by God's word after finding faith. He said he is saved. So he recently revealed he's been on a spiritual journey and credited God for saving him and compelling him to live a life by God's word. The 37-year-old UFC featherweight and lightweight champion spoke about his faith during a bare-knuckle fighting championship. Dude, people that bare-knuckle fight are insane. They're just insane. Houston Alexander from Omaha, Nebraska, he's been dabbling in the bare-knuckle fighting. And like over a year ago, I asked him when I ran into him, we were talking about it. And I'm like, dude, how bad does that hurt to get punched? He goes, I don't get punched. And I was like, touche, brother. Touche. And McGregor continued, I'm not here just by chance. There's a higher power, God, that dictates my journey and all of my journeys. And I live my life by God's word. He has not fought in a UFC fight since 2001 when he broke his ankle during a match with a guy named Dustin. McGregor told reporters that he has undergone a personal shift. Since around that time that you mentioned at the last event, I've engaged on a spiritual journey and have been saved. I'm saved. I'm healed, he said. And I'm on the back of that. The world is in for a treat. The world is in for a treat. My competitive spark that was once in my heart is now a roaring blaze. So I'm very excited. So here he is. He's on. His salvation, I guess, is going to be a treat for the world. Whatever that means, we shall see. A lot of people in the world need to make changes in their life, and they don't because they don't have the guts to. They don't have the balls to. They don't have the fortitude to. And I just want to take this time to take my... this is not McGregor saying it. This is a guy named Feldman, David Feldman, the bare-knuckle fist-fighting president. And, and he wants to congratulate Conor McGregor. And he's going to return to the UFC, I suppose. So we shall see. We shall see how that plays out. If he stays on the narrow path, or if he falls off the path and just starts just chugging whiskey like we've seen in the videos online and, humping women's legs who aren't his wife. So hopefully he's done with that. Hopefully he's repented, and we shall see. We shall see. So Anthony Hopkins also recently, and there was, Bear Grylls wrote a book about Jesus, and I saw Anthony Hopkins. He's revealing life-changing epiphany from God that ended his alcohol addiction. He said they actually heard an audible voice. He said that he was hammered, and he was leaving a party in Beverly Hills, and he told his agent, I need help, and that he was driving, and which he regrets because he realized that he could hurt someone. Some deep, powerful thought or voice spoke to me from inside and said, it's all over. Now you can start living, and it has been for a purpose, so don't forget one moment of it. That's what the voice said to him. So God told him to quit drinking in a vocal, male, reasonable, like radio voice is how he described it. And then he went on after that, after hearing from God and stopping alcoholism. This is way back when. He went on to make Silence of the Lambs, where he played a cannibal. Maybe you've heard of him, Hannibal Lecter, which I've never understood. Like I've never been able to rationalize like doing acting or to be an actor. Like I've done some acting, TV show and independent film and stuff like that, but it's like, I don't know. I just like to be myself all the time. I've always found it very strange to be an entirely different person who you aren't really, who might have, be morally ambiguous or, a bad guy, whatever it may be. And then not being that person. Like I've always thought it was weird. Like I couldn't even imagine being married and then being in a movie where you have a romantic interest, whether it's a wife or anything, and you're making out with that person on screen, maybe doing some dry humping. And then at the premiere, you're bringing your wife, come watch my movie. And then for an hour and a half, they watch you in love with someone else, making out with someone else. That is insane to me. I mean, that has to be one of the reasons why divorce is so prevalent in Hollywood, because it's an insane thing. You got to do it almost like how Leonardo DiCaprio does it, or he's just never going to get married and he only dates models and then discards them like an old mattress on the side of the road. And I actually think that I think that is the better option. To be like a Leonardo DiCaprio, if you're an actor, and not kid yourself and try to be Hannah Montana and have the best of both worlds. A family and then your acting career where you're not who you really are. Because, you are that person. People watch TV and they perceive, if they like you in a particular character in a movie, that's how they will perceive you. Just take a look at Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Dude, that actor that played Carlton Banks, dude, he's Carlton for the rest of his life. He couldn't even do anything else. Will Smith, I mean, he got it. He got it the best because he just played himself, Will Smith. But poor Alonzo, that is his real name, Alonzo something. I mean, he is Carlton Banks for the rest of his whole life he's been. And I hope he's come to terms with it. I hope he's accepted it and that he's been able to live a happy and fruitful life. All right? Same thing happened to Dustin Diamond, Screech Powers. Screech forever. Everywhere he went, Screech, and he was a maniac. I worked with him a handful of times. Crazy stories about that dude. correct. Like he was like that affected him to his core. Like he hated being Screech, but then also loved it because it still provided him, notoriety and was able to do stand up and stuff. But he stabbed a guy, for God's sakes. Stabbed a guy in Wisconsin. Before he died, I don't even remember how he died, but when he got out of jail, he did right when he got out, the first show he did was at New Year's Eve in Kearney at a theater, and I opened for him. I got a call from a booker. He's like, "You want to open for Screech?" And I'm like, "I thought he was in jail." See, right there, do you want to open for Screech? Literally, that's what he said. Poor Dustin Diamond. And he asked me, he's like, "Do you want to open for Screech?" And I said, "Is he in jail?" He's like, "He just got out." I'm like, "Yes, I want to open for Screech and see what he's like after prison time, after doing some stabbing." And he was actually way nicer than when I met him many years earlier. When I was I was obsessed with Saved by the Bell. Obsessed. It was my favorite show. In 5th grade, I came home after school. I made a milkshake to feed all my chubby cells. And I would watch 2 episodes on I don't remember the channels. I used to remember what channels there were. I'd watch 2 episodes and then flip to another station, another channel, and then 2 more would be on. I would watch 4 episodes of Saved by the Bell every day. Loved that show. So when I got to work for him, dude, open for him, in my mid-20s, I was very excited. So many questions I wanted to ask. Didn't ask any of them. All right, first thing we did, we went to Kona Grill. And we're sitting there, and the waitress comes up. And she goes, "Can I get a picture with you?" And he goes, "How old are you?" And she was like, "Huh?" Kind of taken aback. He's like, "How old are you?" And she goes, "I'm 18. And he goes, "I would ruin you. I would just ruin you." I was like, oh, dear God, what have I gotten myself into with this dude? So he was like, "I'll take a picture after we eat," which I don't even know if he ended up doing, but it was so uncomfortable. And that was just to kick off the week, man. And this is back in the day when it was shows Wednesday through Sunday. There was a lot of time. A lot of time with this dude. After one show, he was signing, he'd sign autographs and stuff, and he had 8x10s and some other things. Well, there was a kid there that wasn't old enough to go to the show. I don't even know if he was 18. He might have been 17. But I just know that he was too young to see the show, to go into the bar area. And so he waited out there in the lobby. And then when he was signing autographs, he had a picture, one of his headshots that he had printed off, and had a marker, a silver Sharpie. And he walks up to him and he's like, "Will you sign this for me?" And dude, Screech, I won't even use his name, Dustin. Maybe it was a chance. I don't know. I feel bad. I'm sitting here, this be Screech forever, and I just keep calling. That is who he is. It's unfortunate, but true. And Screech goes, "Where did you get this?" And the kid goes, "I printed it off the internet." He goes, This is a crime. This is prison time." And freaked out, wouldn't sign his photo that he brought, made him purchase one of his photos, and then went to go sign it with, Screech had a black permanent marker, Sharpie, and he went to sign it, and the kid goes, "Will you use this silver one so it shows up better?" And he just looked at him and signed it with the black Sharpie and gave it to him. Dude, this was the kid. He was young, and he had some sort of disability. And I was standing right there because I've already at this point had many interactions with them, and I was, he was saying about how he's a black belt and stuff. At that point, I didn't care. I'm like, I don't care if I get beaten if I fight Screech and he wins and I am humiliated and great shame is brought upon my family, I'm going to fight this man if he makes this handicapped child cry. And that was just another one. Then one night, on Friday night, this woman came to the show by herself. And, oh no, that's Saturday night, so we don't want to skip ahead. So Friday night, he's out on the balcony at the Funny Bone in Omaha, and he's talking to these girls, and he gets their number from one of them. And I was waiting around because I was taking him back to his hotel. I was being paid to do so. And so he gets his number from the girl or whatever, and then I take him back to his apartment. And then the next day, when I pick him up or whatever, and it got brought up, those girls or whatever, he's like, yeah, I called her and she didn't answer. So I told her that I hope she has a nice life under the bus, and how rude it is not to answer the phone when someone calls you, when you give them their number. And I was like, dear God, how much longer do I have to endure this? So then on Saturday night, a woman comes to the show alone, and after the show, they're all over each other. And I'm like, I want to get out of there, dude. I want to leave. So I'm like, come on, man, are you ready? Is she going to take you back to your hotel, or am I going to? What's the deal here? And he goes, yeah, take me back, and then she is going to follow us. I'm like, okay, whatever. So we leave. She's following us. We're driving down, one of the main highway streets, Dodge, in Omaha. Come up to a red light. It's pouring rain. She gets out of the car, comes up to the passenger side of my car, pulls him out of it into her vehicle. So then I go to the hotel, and there are nowhere to be found, and I have his suitcase of merch. And at this point, I'm just so sick and tired of his shit that I'm like, I don't even care. So I just walked into the hotel and just slid the suitcase up by, no one was in the lobby or whatever. It was late. So I just threw it and slid it up against the front desk, like a throw, like a skipping, like I skipped it, like a stone. And I'm leaving, and they're coming in. They're taking selfies on flip phones. You know how great that technology was. And I'm like, yeah, dude, your suitcase is in there. So flash forward to the next day in the afternoon, I get a call from Colleen Quinn, manager of the Funny Bone, and she says, have you seen the news on MTV News, E! News, and stuff like that? And I'm like, no. She's like, last night, Screech had brought that woman with him. I'm like, yeah, I know. I took him there. And she's like, well, his wife called, and that woman answered the phone, and then Screech started screaming and saying that he was being robbed. All right. So then it was that woman started freaking out, and he keeps hearing, I'm being robbed, and opens the door to the hotel room to go into the hallway. Well, she maces him. She sprayed him in the face with mace because he was freaking out and acting insane. And, she was, I don't know why she maced him, but I'm glad that she did. And the hotels, came, the security, everything, the police ended up coming, and he somehow convinced that this woman had broken into his hotel room to steal his literally t-shirts and video games, is what he said. T-shirt, if you look up this story Screech, E! News, Omaha, Nebraska, I'm sure it would still come up. And so, yeah, it was this, it was a huge ordeal and a huge scene. And he was just a total asshole to everyone that he came across. Oh, I didn't even know he slammed the door in a 10-year-old's face. In a 10-year-old's face, this dude slammed a door when I was picking him up one night at the hotel. He's getting into my vehicle, and this 10-year-old kid whose parents were standing back came up and said, hi, can I have your autograph? And he goes, I'm late for a show, slams the door in his face. And I'm just looking over at him going, my God, you being branded as Screech for the rest of your life has turned you into an actual monster. And man, that was a digression. I digressed so hard right there. I hope you enjoyed story time. And that was all my, about acting, really. Like if you become that person, it's just interesting because, however, when you're first accepted by the public and grow up on a mass scale, like whoever you are at that time is basically you are frozen in time as that person. That's why so many young, like actors that maybe, from childhood or their teens or whatever they have arrested development. They're stuck as that person that they were when they first became famous. And you can notice like certain subtle things with even like stand-up comics. Dan Whitney, who was Larry the Cable Guy, right? So he was Dan Whitney, and then he did this bit where he was Larry the Cable Guy at the end of his show. It was kind of his closer. People loved it, so he kept doing it more and more until he became Larry the Cable Guy. And he started wearing flannels with no sleeves. And then when he hit and became massively famous, dude, he can never wear sleeves again. When he's doing a charity event playing golf, no sleeves. Sleeves are not allowed. That's how people know him, and that's how people love him. Same thing, Bert Kreischer. I watched the same thing happen with him in his no-shirt evolution. I would work with him on shows. He was clothed like a normal human, fabric over his sweaty, large torso. And then at the end, he would, like for his closer, he'd rip his shirt off and, be a wild man, like let's party and all this stuff. And then the next time he came back and I saw him, his shirt would come off sooner. And then all of a sudden, just the shirt is gone. And now people probably wouldn't care. They probably want him to put on a shirt at this point, but he's like, this is what people know me for. So he's shirtless for the rest of his life. So those are just two examples. So I've always thought that, like, it's just, if you can help it, like if you're pursuing a career where the end result is fame, then it's like you got to be really conscious of like who you are and who you want to be for the rest of your life. Because when you hit, like, that's where you're going to be stuck at. Like, that's where people want you. Just think about, like, when Metallica, they were able to do it. They were huge. Like, when, one of the biggest bands in the world. They cut their hair, and I remember, like, I wasn't even a Metallica fan. Like, I liked Inner Sandman. That's about it. I'm just not, like, the heavy metal kind of guy. But I remember when they came out with whatever album it was, and they cut their hair, and people lost their minds. All the metal fans, like the kids at school that were metal fans, they were up in arms. They couldn't believe it. They thought it was the worst thing that had ever happened because they were the long-haired metal dudes. But they were so big at that time, and they were so established that they could just ride that out. And they were willing to do it. They weren't afraid. Like, a lot of people are afraid, like, well, this is what my fans expect. I got to give them what they want. It's like, no, man, you can't live like that. You got to grow. You got to evolve. If you want a haircut, get a haircut. If you want to wear a shirt, wear a shirt. If you want sleeves, wear some sleeves. But we get trapped. We get trapped thinking that, like, we got to deliver to the people that have made us. Lost their minds, dude, when Metallica cut their hair. I mean, it was all over MTV News. I mean, it was a scandal, dude. Scandalous thing to do. All right, dude. Oh, I hope you guys have a great day. And I will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m.